welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 or episode 2 of my polymer clay tutorial series. Today the first thing that we're going to go through is how to condition clay. Conditioning clay just means when you get it in a package or when you haven't used it for a while, it kind of goes hard and then you have to soften it up. I'm just going to use this really dried out black clay to show you how I condition clay, because it's kind of like a tougher one, so it's like a good example of the worst that it gets kind of thing. So a lot of people will roll it with their hands, and that method is totally fine, but it just really hurts your hands if you're doing a lot of clay. I have the weirdest little hands. Let's just ignore that. I am an adult. Okay, so the first thing I would do is prep your area. So mine is just my table, as I said before, but if you have a tile, or if you have a piece of glass, or if you're using baking paper. With baking paper, I would suggest blue tacking it down or taping it down a big square so that it doesn't move. Otherwise it's going to be really difficult to do this. So I would put it down there, and then I'm just going to roll on top of it with my roller or my jar. I don't know what happened to this one, but it is really hard. So they'll already have air bubbles in them when you get them. Not always, but like sometimes they do. And as you can see, it's kind of cracking as I'm doing it. I mean, hold on, hopefully you can see that a little bit. That's because it's dry. So I'm just gonna, this is probably the hardest bit, and then I'm gonna turn it the other way and roll it out more. I can see that that's actually an air bubble. I don't know if you can see it, hon. I can't, yeah, there we go. That's okay. We get basically, also while we're softening up the clay, we're trying to not add any air bubbles and get rid of any that are already in it. Okay, so the way that I do it is not really normal. Again, I mean, I don't know how many times I'm going to say that throughout the series. So what most people would do is, instead of rolling it flat, they would roll it into a long, hold on, I'll get you a little bit and I'll show you. This is a red I mixed earlier that I didn't like. So they would roll it into a tube like that, between their hands like that, and then put the two ends together and twist like that, and it kind of looks like an American candy thing. I don't know what it's called. And then you would rub your hands together again until you have another round tube, and then you would just do the same again and again until it's soft, and then eventually you would kind of move it into a ball like that. Okay, I don't really like doing that because you're using your hands so much, and when you're doing big bits of clay, it takes a really long time and it really hurts your hands. So the way I do it is to roll it like this, as flat as I can, and then it's going to break at points, it's fine. I flip it over and I put my roller in the middle. This way it doesn't make an air pocket. So I push it down in the middle and then I roll out, and as I'm rolling out, it presses the air out that's in between the two. It's not a perfect method, no method is. It's very difficult to not get any air bubbles. But it's okay if you get one or two, especially for the method that I do, because you can just cover them when you're doing decorating. And I just keep doing that. Fold it, press it in the middle, okay to kind of fold it like that if one side gets smaller, and then just the harder you press at the start, the less air bubbles you get, because that's when it's sealing the two layers together. You'll be able to tell relatively soon if you're putting air bubbles in it, because they'll show up when you're rubbing it. When you're rolling it. This clay is so dry. Some clays get like really crumbly, and it's probably worth just throwing them out, because even if you condition them, they kind of don't bake as well, and they can become crumbly even after they've baked. See, I have a little tiny air bubble there. If you're getting a lot of air bubbles, you can grab your tool that has like the skewer end, or your knife, and you just pop them. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I have a tiny one here. You can just go like that. And then roll again. Again, these are just my techniques. Like, they might not be the best way. I'm just teaching you guys how I do stuff. I should not have used this clay because it is super dry. Okay, you can tell that it's still not ready when I'm bending it. Like, it's getting better because it's not breaking then, but when I press that down, it's still breaking. It should not break, it should just completely bend. This is gonna take forever, so I'm actually just gonna switch to another clay that's a bit softer. Otherwise I'm going to be here. Actually, I'm just gonna pause, and I'm gonna do this like 20 more times, and then I will show you. It does not normally take this long, I promise. Okay, I actually had to switch clay because that clay is like maybe like not okay. You can buy a clay softener and it will like help rescue clay like that, but just for the moment I want to show you what normal clay acts like. So I'm just doing the same thing, and you'll see it's not splitting completely, which is a better sign. But yeah, this is all I do. I just go. You don't want it to be, it depends what you're using it for. If you want it to be your base, you don't need it to be as conditioned. You don't want it to be, because it will be easier to cut out your shape. But if you want to use it to do some fine detail on the top, you want it to be quite soft. But yeah, I've got so much stuff in this clay, so I should have cleaned my area a bit better. But yeah, now when I'm folding it, you can see it's not cracking on the edge like that, which means it's most likely done. Now, if I want to see if I've got any air bubbles in it, you can't always tell until it's baked. Sometimes air bubbles will just pop out when it's baked, but this is quite thin, so we should be able to tell. And I just hold it up to the light and I move it around, and I can't see any air bubbles in this one. And if I want to store it, I will fold it and lightly press it, and fold it again, lightly press it, and then again lightly press it until I have almost a ball, and then I'll just press it into a square. Or you can roll it like this into a ball, and there you have your clay. Wash your hands in between. I did not follow that rule, and now my clay has black specks all over it from the clay before. But yeah, I store mine in a just in a plastic container, and I don't, like, you don't have to keep it airtight, you don't store it in the fridge. you don't want it to get hot. But other than that, you can like leave it on your table if you want to. It would get dust in it and it wouldn't be good. I mean, it might get a little bit hard like the other clay that I was trying to condition, but it's not like normal clay, the polymer clay. But yeah, I hope that's helped. Seriously, if I have like missed anything or if you don't understand something, just let me know and I will make extra bits. Because I'm not a teacher, I don't really know exactly what to do, so I'm just trying my best to show you guys what I do. But do not worry if you're not getting it and you want more information. My hands are so weird, I've never looked at them this much before. Anyways, on to the colors now. The next part that I'm going to talk about is colors. So I would recommend buying the minimum amount of colors you can, especially if you're a beginner. You don't have to do this. You could just buy like every color you can find. They're not super expensive. I pay about, I think, $4, maybe $3.80 for a small pack like this. Plus shipping, obviously. But if you buy them together, that's a lot better. And I just buy mine from eBay, from multiple art supply eBay shops. So I've made a bunch of colors already. I spent my money doing that and I have very sore thumbs because I've just mixed them by hand because they're so small and I haven't used the conditioning method to mix colors, which I'll show you after I've gone through these colors. So I'm going to flip over to the other view and I will show you how I've made these colors and what like recipes I've used. The first couple I'm just going to show you are only going to be with the primary colors. So the first thing that I would recommend you buying is a red, a yellow, and a blue, preferably a dark blue. So the red and the blue and the yellow that I like the best is they're all the Primo Sculpey. That's the clay that pretty much the only clay I use. So the yellow is the zinc yellow hue. The blue is the ultramarine ultramarine blue, and the red is the cadmium red hue. I think that's how you say it, cadmium. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but you get what I mean. It's number 5382 if I'm saying it wrong. I would also recommend you get black, which I have a really big one because I use a lot of black, which is just black, that's the color name, and white. This one is white. You can't make black and white. You can't mix red, blue, or yellow. So obviously you need these as the primary colors, and all colors are mixed from these. The other two colors that I would recommend later, I'll show you after I've shown you this first bit without them, but there's just two additional colors. So all together it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just 7 colors. I also would recommend getting this as well, which is the transparent white. It's white transparent. It's not clear, but it's see-through. Like I mean, it's transparent, that's the right word for it. It's not, I don't necessarily use it for the color. I do use it a lot for certain techniques, but that would be more advanced and I'll do them a lot later. But I use them mainly for the backs of earrings because it's a super strong clay. I don't know why, but it's really like when it's baked, it's really strong, and so I find it really helpful for putting the earring backs on. Sorry, I'm just getting messages. It's also good to mix in the clays that pick up more dust and like lint and stuff if you're like shut and like off your table. It tends to help them not pick up as much. I don't know why. I don't, like, I just know this from like accident. But yeah, so it's also really cool to mix colors in and stuff. It just looks like a marble effect, which I'll show you guys like a lot later in the series. So let's get into it. Let's get into the primary colors first, and then I'll show you the additional colors that I think you should add. So for these first couple, as I just said, I'm going to be using the primary red, primary blue, and yellow. And also the white and the black. So the first color I'm going to show you, and I'm very glad that I pre-mixed these, is brown. So the way that I normally make brown is by having 2 parts red to 1 part black. Now, this is not how you're meant to make brown. The normal way, like the color theory way to make brown, is equal parts red, blue, and yellow. And that absolutely will make brown. I made this brown with that. Hold on, I'm just gonna zoom in. For you. There we go. Okay, so I made this brown. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see exactly like how different stuff is, but this is the brown that I made with the red and black. I think it's a better brown, but you can make it with these colors as well. And then these are what they're like baked. So I baked them for you guys to see. I don't check my colors with baking because I just think it's like normally a tiny shade darker. These are probably the most different. I just don't worry. Sometimes colors will change quite a bit, but it's rare. But I've baked all these today so you can see. But yeah, I don't have like clay recipes and stuff like that. I just mix the colors as I go, and just add a little bit. The best way to find out without wasting your clay is to do like a pinch test. So I would take literally, oh my god, my hands are so sore from mixing all this today. So I would take a pinch, like literally a little pinch, like that much, and then a pinch of another color, or 2 pinches depending on, if I wanted to do equal parts yellow and blue, I would just take a pinch like that, and then I'll just mix them together in my hands by pinching them. It's the pinch, pinch, pinch method. I've coined that now. Yeah, so, and I would just do that until they're mixed. That way I can see if it's a gross color or not, without using up all of my clay. And then I can just make a bigger quantity by doing bigger parts. Okay, and then I have green. You could also add yellow to this. Basically just test it, but like you just add a little bit. With browns, if you want to make them lighter, I would tend to add more of the yellow and red and less blue. Adding white can work to a point, but then it becomes more of a pastel brown, where yellow would just make it lighter. I'll show you with the pinch method what I mean. I've got the red, and black brown, and the normal yellow equal parts, and I'm just going to mix them together. It's super fun, like, because the clay mixes together with like watercolors and paints. Sometimes certain colors like just will separate, but the clay always mixes together really well and makes like a new color. It's really fun to experiment. But yeah, so, and now I have a lighter brown. I mean, you can't, I don't know if you can tell that. Yeah, it's a little bit lighter. The more yellow you add, the better you would be. But yeah, but if I add white, there's a little bit of white. It makes it more of a pastel-y brown. But it absolutely, like, that might be what you're looking for, but it's more of a brick color, where this is more of a dark chocolate color. But yeah, I think it's a really good brown. This is also a really nice brown, but it's more of like a gray brown, where this is more of like a red chocolatey brown. So yeah, here's your first 2 recipes, 2 parts red to 1 part black, and equal parts red, blue, and yellow. So the next thing I'm going to show you is orange. Orange I would never buy because it is so easy to make. I made this one with 3 parts of the yellow and 1 part of the red. This yellow is quite weak, and the red is really strong, so you need quite a lot of yellow. You would think this would be like very yellow orange, but it's actually a very red orange. It's almost red. And then this is it baked. Again, it is pretty much the same color. You can buy orange. I just think it's such an easy color to mix. I'm just gonna leave that to the side for a minute. You'll see in the future why I'm doing that. And then the next color I'm going to show is purple. So one of the colors that I think is quite difficult to mix with the base primary colors, even it's the same in paints, it's just like if you don't have the right red, because there's cool and there's warm reds. I mean, let's not get into that, but it can just be very hard because it's, especially with clay, it's super hard to tell. So I've made this purple, which is almost not purple, it looks quite brown, and quite a grey purple with 2 parts blue, 1 part red and white, so you can actually see it, otherwise it would be like almost dark. And then I've gone the other way with 2 parts red, 1 part blue and 1 part white. With purples, you can kind of go to either side of more blue or more red, and they make a different type of purple. This is more of like a violet, and then this is more of a grey purple. I don't like these purples. They're sometimes good for like more natural things. Like this might be quite good if you were making like a realistic like fruit and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't really use these that often. I'll show you later what I would mainly use for the purples, but I don't make them with just the primary colors. So I'm going to leave these again. And also just add white, the lighter that you want those, until you get like a nice pastel color. Okay, then this is how I would make pink, equal parts red, equal parts white. These are not the actual measurements, by the way, these are just representations. So, and that makes this really nice pink. It's more of like a salmon pink, and then that's it baked. Again, it's the same color. So if you want a brighter pink, which I normally do, this red wouldn't make that, but it makes a really nice like peachy salmony pink. If you want more of a like a peach, just add a tiny bit of yellow, like the tiniest bit you can, like a pinch of yellow, and just keep adding it up till you get the color that you want. That's how you make it more peachy. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this one here as well, and then I'm gonna move into the blue. So I would say with most colors, even if you choose to buy a purple or buy a green, get the darkest color you can, and then just add white. This is the same blue, just with white, and again, it's the same color when it's baked. Yeah, so you could add like a quarter to 1 part, and it would be like a darker blue. I'll show you, this is my favorite blue to make, is 1 part white to 3 parts blue, like this, and it looks like this. It's a really nice blue. And if you want to make your blue a little bit different, like a little bit more of like an aqua. Again, it's the same with this. To make it more peachy, just add a tiny bit of yellow, like a tiny bit of yellow, until you get the color that you want. So I'm gonna move these over again. I want to keep these so I shouldn't show you the comparison, but I might have to zoom out a little bit. Hold on. Okay, and then I'm gonna show you, my battery is going flat. Oh, so annoying. Okay, and then I'm going to show you the greens. So we've got 1 part yellow to 1 part blue produces this green. It's a really nice green, and that's it baked. It's the same. It's like a forest green, I would call it. And then if you add more yellow, you get a brighter green. So this is 3 parts yellow to 1 part, hold on, just move it back up. This is 3 parts yellow to 1 part blue, and it makes a brighter green, as you can see that. It's almost the same color, but it's a little bit brighter. And then this is what I was talking about before with adding the yellow. This is a more of a aqua-y green. It's still green, but it's a little bit more aqua, and it's 2 parts blue, 2 parts white, and 1 part yellow. If you wanted that to still be a blue, you would just add like 1/4 of a yellow. But as you can see, just even adding that 1 part yellow, it turns it into a green. And then that's it baked there, and that's it baked there. And as you can see, that they're the same. So yeah, that's all of the primary colors that don't have the other 2 colors that I'm going to show you now. So now I'm going to show you the 2 colors that I would definitely add. As you can see, like, it's a little bit difficult to mix like a bright colors. So the colors that I would recommend are the fluorescent pink and fluorescent yellow. Again, I feel like I'm saying fluorescent wrong, but oh well. Yeah, another optional one which I use quite a bit, but I don't think you need, is the green that goes with these, the fluorescent green. It's just called green, but it's kind of the same. It's like a bright green. So you can absolutely just mix your own greens, as you'll see. But yeah, I would add these 2, and I'll show you them now. Now, I'm going to leave these out so I can show you what I mean. So the first one that I'm going to show you with the fluorescent colors is pink. So here is the pink that I made before with these 2 colors, with the red and the white. And here's the same mixture with equal parts white and the fluorescent pink, and it makes this color. I'll put it next to it, and it again dries the same. You're never going to make this color from a red, really. Pinks and like magentas and stuff, you can't really make them from a red. But yeah, I like this color a lot, and I like this color too. But yeah, I think most people would prefer like a brighter pink like this when they're making like colorful earrings. And then the same with the orange. So here's my orange there, and then I made, and that is 3 parts yellow to 1 part red, where this is just equal parts fluorescent yellow and fluorescent pink, and it makes this bright orange here. I'll put these next to each other and you'll see. I mean, honestly, fluorescent looks really strange on camera, but it looks like a starburst orange kind of thing, if that makes sense. But I'd have to say my favorite orange to make is 3 parts normal yellow, like this original recipe, with 1 part pink, and it makes this really nice darker orange that you can see there, but still super bright. And that's it baked. It looks the same. So I'm just gonna move these to the side now. Now we're gonna move on to the purples. So as you can see, my purples, like I talked about before, are quite brown, I guess I would say. So this is the first purple that I've made, and as you can see, it's a lot better purple. I mean, it's so hard to see on the camera, but it is a lot. It's a really nice purple, and it is 1 part blue to 2 parts pink, the fluorescent pink, and then that's it baked. It's again the same color. So, and then if I add 1 part white, it looks like this, a really nice light violety purple. And then if you want a darker purple, I made this by just adding equal parts pink and blue, and then if I add 1 part white, it looks like this, a really nice like royal purple. And there's the baked pieces that look the same, so I'm just gonna move that. And then for the greens, I think it's the same, so I'm just adding the same blue, equal part blue and fluorescent yellow, and it creates a brighter green. It's pretty similar. Like, I think the greens are probably the best colors that come out besides the brown in the basic primary colors, but the fluorescent yellow adds a lot. And then this is a green with more yellow, so it's 2 parts yellow to 1 part blue. If you wanted a really mustardy, like bright grassy yellow, green, you would just add more yellow. Sorry, the light is significantly worse now. I'm having one of those days. And then so another color that I really like to make, and I used to buy until I figured out how to make it, is like an aqua green, you can see here, or blue, a bluey green. I make it, I mean, normally I make everything by just testing, like I was saying before, with the pinch and pinch. So that's 3 parts of the blue, 1 part yellow. It's similar to this one, but with the fluorescent yellow, to 3 parts white, and it makes this really nice bluey green. Another color that I wanted to show you guys is a really dark purple. I really like this color. I used to get a really similar color in acrylic and I was obsessed with it, so it's so nice to make it in this. It bakes a little bit darker, but basically the same color again, and all it is 2 parts of the normal blue to 1 part pink, and then you could add white and make it lighter. And then I hope it's okay, these will be a good here, but then magenta, I mean, I don't know if you call this magenta or like, I'll show you, hold on, let me get the color that I tried to emulate. It's similar, which is fuchsia. Again, you could not make this with red, but I used 2 parts pink to 1/4 of a part blue. So I just added a tiny, so technically it would be like purple, but it's a really, really pink purple. And that makes a really nice color. And also I'll show you how nice it is with a little bit mixed with a little bit of white. It's a really nice color. It's like a dark pink. I'll put it here with the other pinks and you see what I mean. It's kind of an in-between of those, but I do quite like it in the dark. That's equal parts white. Yeah, and again it bakes the same color. Even though you could just use the yellow that you already have, or the bright yellow that you already have, I tend to mix my own yellow. I'm just gonna move these so I can show you. I use 1 part of the normal yellow and 2 parts of the fluorescent yellow. I just find that this yellow looks a little bit dull, and it makes a really nice bright but not fluorescent yellow. And that's it baked. I just really like this yellow. It's kind of like, I'd probably describe it like a sunflower yellow. I mean, I'm just making that up, but that's what I think of it as. And the same with the red. If you want to make a brighter red, you don't want to add white because it will make it like this color, like I showed you here, you want to add yellow to make a brighter red. So this is a bright red that I would use, and I don't know, that's the normal red on top of it. So you can, I mean, it looks the same on the camera, it's quite difficult, but it is quite a lot brighter. And I just mixed equal parts red and yellow, normal yellow. I think that's what I did, yeah. And it makes this really nice bright red. I think that that might be it. I would love to show you guys some like more advanced colors like mustards and stuff like that, but I just felt like this is a lot for the start. So if you want me to make a follow-up color one with more colors, just let me like comment which colors you want me to do down the bottom. I can't say that I can mix every color from this, but I can give it a pretty good shot. Yeah, I really hope this has been like helpful. I'll show you how to like mix bigger amounts of colors in a minute, but yeah, I think you can make quite a lot with these colors, way more than this. This is just the basics. Also remember that like with the red, you could go either way, adding more red, adding more white, adding more yellow, and also you can add like a little bit of black to colors, like to make them darker, as long as you don't add too much. Even like with the green, you could add a tiny bit of black. Sometimes I'll do that to a green like this if I just want a super dark green, because if you add more blue, it will make it darker, but it tends to change the color of the green. Sorry, my cat is going insane again. Yeah, I have to say my favorite colors are this purple and this purple, and this green and this, the red, and then the fuchsia. Again, I would not write down recipes, but you guys can, like it's up to you. If you make a color you really like sometimes it is hard to make it again, but you kind of start to understand like what colors you would have used, and it's easy to test it with like the pinch method to see what you have done. While I'm packing this up, I just remembered what I was gonna say that I forgot. When you make colors from similar base colors, like with the greens, how I've made this with the green, how I've made it from the same blue source, they tend to kind of go together. They won't clash as much because they have a similar base color. A lot of times with illustrations, people will do like a thin layer of like light yellow or light pink and then paint over the top, so that all of their colors have a similar like base hue to them. And the clay is the same way. Like these colors don't really clash because they all have the same blue in them. And it can look really cool if you do like purples, all different purples, but made with the same blue or made with the same pink. And they just tend to really go well together. So that's like a little hint for stuff like if you wanted to pair like an orange with a blue, if you've made them from the same yellow, they are more likely to look really nice together. Also with the color wheel, opposite colors tend to go together. So if you, honestly, I would totally recommend looking up a color wheel. They're like free online everywhere, but basically colors are on either side of it. So orange is on one side and purple is on the other, and orange and purple look really cool together. Or similar colors like base colors, yellow and green look really cool together because it's the color that it's in. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all of these. That's kind of why I don't bake test, because I don't really like want to waste a whole bunch of clay just in case something looks like slightly different. Honestly, I've made some of my favorite colors with just leftover clay, mixing it together. So if I didn't want to store, like right now, I don't want to store 4 purples, so I will just mix. I'll pick the colors, I'll pick the purples that I think are the most similar. Like these are more blue, the same with this one, and I don't really like this color, so I'm gonna mix it in with that, and I'll mix these colors together. and then these are the ones that are more red, and I'll mix those colors together, including this one here. And I'm even gonna add this pink in and that pink in. I might actually do this instead of showing you the blue, so ignore what I'm about to say. And you can even mix a blue in. The same with these oranges. I'm going to mix all these 3 oranges together, because for me it just makes more sense to have a big lot of a big color rather than tiny little bits, because I couldn't really use it. And the final thing that I'm going to show you guys today is mixing colors. So it's pretty obvious. I just mix them the way that I would mix like a normal clay that's not like I'm so bad at this today. I would just mix them the way that you condition clay, just with 2 pieces of clay. But I'll show you anyway, just so that you can get a better idea. I'm going to be mixing white and blue. I would have just shown you it. It's my favorite blue recipe. It's 3 parts of the ultramarine blue to 1 part white. So if I'm going to be mixing a whole bunch of colors like that are already soft, like that, I would just smush them together and then put them on the board and do exactly the same method I was doing before. And you can see there it's already conditioned, because I just mixed these colors this morning, and even though they've been sitting on my table all day, they haven't had enough time to harden. It can take a long time, and if you're not using it as your base and you're not too worried about air bubbles, sometimes I will just cut them and then just sit and mix them with my hands like this. But it can get really sore on your hands, and if you don't want to hurt your hands and you don't have a pasta machine, which is another thing that people use, they're quite expensive though, and I don't even have one. I just mix colors like this, and you just want to keep going until it's one single color. It can take quite a long time. It's a really good way to like save clay though. And if you have like a blob that has different, like say I didn't want that, I wanted the lighter oranges together but not the dark oranges, I would just cut out the best I can of the colors that I want together, even though that's there, it's not as much, and then I would mix these together and then those together. You can kind of see this is made like a maroon, grey kind of purple, violety purple. It's really pretty. I actually really like that color. And I'll show you with 2 bits of clay that aren't conditioned. I'm going to use, I'm not going to measure it, I'm just going to use the blue and the white. I would roll out one, put it to the side, and then roll out the other. Okay, so my camera went flat for the millionth time. Take the bigger one and put it on the bottom, put the smaller one on top, and do a similar thing to with the folding, but put it in the middle and then go out from either side. And then just keep doing the same thing. It will just take a little bit longer. To be honest, it's not that bad to condition the clay while mixing it together, because you have to do it the amount, like more that it takes to condition it. Again, this does take longer than just doing it with your hands and just mixing it together, but it's just better on your hands if you're going to be mixing a lot of colors, which I tend to do. And it's better for air bubbles, as you can see. If you want to see how you're going with air bubbles, roll it out as thin as you can. And if you don't see anything, again, there's no air bubbles in that. You can also like leave it if you want. It sometimes makes like a really cool like effect. That's another thing. If you want to have two colors that you want to blend together but not completely, I'll show you what I mean. Let's say I wanted to blend this aqua that I made with some white, but I wanted it to blur into it rather than mixing together. I'm just gonna stick them on each other, roll them, and I'm not gonna fold them this way. I'm only gonna fold them so the color stays with itself, if that makes sense. Like the white's on one side and the green is on the other. And if it gets too long, you can fold those in and then do the same thing. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I know that I'm nowhere near actually making earrings yet, and I'm sorry if that's frustrating to people. I'm just trying to give you guys the best like building blocks to make like your own earrings, if that makes sense. It is just a super basic, like slow series. I just feel like I can show you how I make my designs, but that's not really going to help you, because if you copy them, I think if you put them up, people are going to notice that they're my designs. And I think the best thing to do would be to show you how I create, like how I design the stuff that I make and like where I get my inspiration from, so that you guys can find like your own designs and like really start exploring what you guys want to make. Yeah, so I thought I would do my next episode on creativity basically and inspiration. So I really hope you guys are looking forward to that one. I'm super looking forward to it. Thank you so much. I now have to go film this whole video because I haven't actually filmed all the snippets yet, so wish me luck. And it's getting dark, even though it's like 3:30, so bye. Thank you so much again.